Okay, so just to give you a bit of context, we're in this beautiful tropical paradise in Bali, and we're doing a 2-day property intensive. We've got 50 people that have flown from Australia here to get good at property. These are our next 50 property millionaires, which is exciting. So, 1, 2, 3, yes. Okay, and now I'm going to talk about the property boom no one's talking about. When will it start? How can you profit from it? I reckon most of you guys know when it's going to start anyway, correct? You know, if you've been listening. But I want to tell you a little story. Now, during World War II, in Fort Lauderdale, I don't know where that is, but in America, there was these guys that started the American Air Force. And they had a nickname. Their nickname was the Bomber Mafia. I don't know why, but that's what their nickname was. And what they decided to do, they had a strategy. They said, you know what we can do? We can actually, with air power, control and win the war against Germany. Right? And that's what they're thinking. So they thought, you know what? Why don't we get big planes, build them, and bomb the shit out of Germany? That's what they're thinking, right? So, now, this is the problem, this is the main challenge. They built these big airplanes, as you can see, look what they look like. However, not a lot of them are coming back. They send them out, and a lot of them get shot down. And not many people came back. Then they get more pilots, train more pilots, build more planes. There was a big issue. So, this is what happened. They looked at the planes that came back, and they said, okay, these planes that made it back, they've got holes in certain places. Why don't we reinforce those areas? They got shot, so therefore there's more chance to get back. Does everyone follow that logic? Right? So they're saying, okay, if there's a hole in the wing, let's patch the wing, make it stronger. If there's a hole here, let's make it stronger. So what they did is they spent a lot of money and they got all the parts of the holes and reinforced the crap out of them to make it super strong. Yeah, did this work? I'll tell you a secret, no, it didn't work. Actually, it didn't change a thing. They spent all this money, all this time, fixing all the planes. They looked at all the planes that wherever the holes were, they were fixing those holes and putting extra plating, and it didn't fix a damn thing. Now, why is this? Tell you why. Because they're forward thinking. They weren't thinking properly. They got it completely wrong. Because what happened was, the planes that came back, right, with the holes, the planes that came back with the holes is when they came back, where they didn't have holes, the planes that came back didn't have holes in the fuselage and the cockpit, right? Now, the reason they came back is because they didn't have holes there, because if they got shot in the cockpit or the fuselage, what would happen? The plane would go down. So where the holes were was where you didn't want to reinforce. You actually want to take more metal out, and you want to fix where there's no holes and reinforce that. So that's actual opposite of what comes intuitively to us. Now, why am I telling you this story? I'll tell you why I'm telling you this story. Because when it comes to property investing, right, we don't want to invest, because you go to most property magazines and most property experts, and they're going to go, here we go, we've got Waverley, it's gone up 5 years in a row, 12%, 10%, 11%, you should invest there. That's the same as the bonds, right? It's already gone up. What makes you think it's already gone up in the last 5 years, it's going to keep going up? It's not. It's actually definitely not. So my way of investing is the exact opposite of what most people do. Because what I want to do is I want to look at what's working, but the opposite of what everyone thinks is working. Because there's a thing called market cycle timing. A property suburb can only go around about 7% per year. It's not going to do 20% a year and keep going. Once it hits that ceiling, it's going to drop off. It's just impossible. Because if you think about it, if one suburb just kept going up, then you're going to have $50 million properties in the suburb, next door you're going to have cheap properties. It doesn't work that way. So what happens is, all areas, no matter where they are, always end up between 5 and 7, 8%. what we want to do is we want to find a suburb where the last 5 years they haven't done 7%. What do you know what we call that? The gap. And when you look at the gap, guess what's going to happen? It's going to come back up. But if an area's done really well over the last 5 years, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to go back down to where it wants to be, because property wants to be around 7% on average. That's what we'll do. So just to give you a bit of an idea about statistics and things and how people can get it completely wrong. And when you understand supply and demand, that's when you know what's going to go up, what's going to go down. So once it's on today tonight, it's too late. But they're saying, oh yeah, you should invest in this area, because they always do the opposite. It's funny, even the stock market, they're like, oh yeah, we've done 11% per year. You should invest here. Okay. The property movement I was talking about. Okay, so I'm going to show you the critical mistakes that are costing investors tens of thousands. I've got this slides, but I'm going to just click through a bit of the stuff I don't want to read on the talk. Is that okay? Okay. Real estate, this is true, is the greatest wealth and cash flow vehicle that has existed in the last 100 years. So everyone must be rich, right? No, they're not. This is the shock statistics. There's actually 2.2 million property investors in Australia. 71% of them own one investment property, 19% own two, 6% own three, 2% own four, 1% own five, less than 1% own 6 investments. Now our property program's 10 properties in 10 years. That's going to put in the top 1 out of 10,000 people. How cool is that? I mean, you get to 5 and you're in the top 1% of Australians. Be proud. You tell your mum and dad, go look, I'm the top 1% of Australians. Pretty cool, mate. The thing is, with these people that own investment properties, 2/3 of them are losing money. So it doesn't count, does it? So when you think about where we're at and who we are, we're very rarefied. Top of the cream of the cream of the cream. So well done, everyone. Give yourself a clap. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's even worse, 2/3. So this is what's happening. If you want to end up in the 1% club, that's what you need to do. Because the 1% club in property, the top area, is a matter of replacing your income with property. That's really the goal. Is everyone down for that? Who wants to replace their income with property? You know, because I think once you've done that, once you replace your income with property, then the world opens up. And you know, the thing is, if you want to help the world around you, you're not going to do it if you're broke, okay, or stressed out or got no time. The way you're going to do it is when you've got more money and time. So, everyone see this movie, Back to the Future?
Yep.
Love it. It's still a classic. It's fantastic. At the moment, we're going to rerun the movie Back to the Future because the 70s boom that happened with the population. So in the 70s, we had a population boom and a mining boom. I'm going to go through the stats and show you and prove to you that it's happening right now. So I know you believe it, but I want to give you undeniable proof so you get this. So you can be bulletproof when those negative people and naysayers get in your life and go, why invest in the property? What's this positive property cult and what's happening there? Who's your cult leader? It's George Now, the thing is, you all paid money to join a membership. And people go, why do you make people pay? Because now you've got skin in the game. Because when you've got skin in the game, you're going to do something, correct? Now, positive property, I'm the face. Would you agree? I am positive property. Therefore, I've got skin in the game. I can't just start another business unless I get plastic surgery and change my face. So I've got skin in the game, and that's a lot of the reason why people trust me. Because there's some faceless corporation, they can just change the new name, the records in the background, keep going. I can't do that. And I did this on purpose because I'm authentic and this is me. Okay, average growth rate in capital cities. This is over the last 10 years. So the average growth rate has been over 6% in the last 10 years. And why is everyone wealthy? Because most people aren't educated. Look at this. This is 17th of August 1963, why can't young couples buy a home? So this has been going on for a long time. Look at this, 1890s. Let the bloodbath begin. House prices Sydney and Melbourne could have hard or worse crash since 1890s, right? Look at this, 3-bedroom duplex home from $11,250, including land, $1,000 deposit, $22 a week. Wow. Now, what Jeff was saying was really good because I really resonate with that. When Jeff talks about his parents, and he's like, you buy for 11 grand, why did you buy 10? Right? And then he bought one for 180, and his kids go, why did you buy 10? Right now, in 10 years' time, when you're looking back towards today, this is the one thing you say to yourself, why didn't you buy 10? Always happens to everyone. 2015, median price Sydney hits 550. They're saying is Sydney in a price bubble. They're worried about that. Is that a price bubble? No. So now the median price of the Gold Coast is 520. So property markets move in cycles. Now, did anyone see this in 60 Minutes back in 2018 when they said the market was going to fall by 40%? And I did a reaction video on YouTube and said, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The people that had on were some real estate agents that had no idea about property and some financial experts going, oh, I'm going to drop because of this and because of that. And they were bumbling idiots. And I was really passionate. And I was 60 Minutes, I just trying to scare people. Fritz and Slaughter's a load of crap, and these experts are idiots. I said that. Channel 9 went to YouTube and tried to take me down and shut my channel down. And they blocked me. I went in and gave the evidence, and they had to unblock me and leave me alone. Can you believe it? I'm very passionate about this. I don't care if I fight up against Channel 9. Actually, I appear on their programs as the property expert. So why are they trying to shut me down? Different department. No, different department. So I'm on Today's Show. I've been on 60 Minutes. Usually, if you're on 60 Minutes, it's not good anyway. But I've been on Today Tonight for a good reason too, so it's okay, right? So it depends. Today is no different. You know, build a bust every week. Market due for spring cleaning. They're going to keep saying it's going to go down. Now, what about inflation rates? Because you're going to hear this in the news all the time. Inflation rates, oh my God, the world's going to end, right? Let history be our teacher in our life. This is average price dwelling of real estate per state. So the graphs, how they're going up consistently. The last 10 years, price increase of average dwelling. Most of them have been close, double. And look at this. This is a graph of history of property price and micro corrections. So you look at this. You've got the post-World War inflation, World War II, Korean War, recession. Look at each recession, that little black dot. What happens afterwards? Goes up, bounces up every time. So you have a little dip, and what happens? We actually go in, but it's never the same though, is it? It's always a lot higher, right? And this is the mistake that people make. This is what happened, and and it infuriates me because back in 2008, GFC hit, right? We had a dip. I was saying to everyone, okay, now's the time. Everyone's like, nah, property's finished forever. And then I'm like, where are people live? What do they do? What do they do? Then COVID hit. People say, yeah, oh, that's it, it's finished. Property's never going to go again. COVID's changed the new normal. The new normal is wearing a mask. When you're driving a car on your own. Yeah. If you don't wear a mask, you're actually a mass murderer. It's terrible. I'm the sort of person, I think, if you want to wear a mask, go for it. If you don't want one, don't. You're doing it for yourself. If you want to jab, if you don't want to jab. Right? But people on both sides will literally crazy. So every time there's a micro correction, it goes up. Because we could possibly have a micro correction in the meantime between now and September because of what's happening with rates. I doubt it, but it could happen. Are we going to be worried? No, because a lot of people with COVID here sold all their properties. And we actually had members that had paid money to the land program. And what do? They shit themselves, literally. And figuratively, and they pulled out. They'll almost finish the properties. There's no way, it's too risky. These properties, some of them, they were getting for $340,000. Now they're worth $700,000. And because of the small deposit they had, they can't get back in the market ever again unless they win the lotto or kill their parents and get early retirement. That's the problem. So Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy when others are fearful. There's going to be two types of people over the next 2 years. People that think they're lucky stars, they came with positive property and took action and made money through real estate. And there's going to be the losers that are going to regret that they missed out yet again. One of the best opportunities. So if you missed the last property move, it's not your fault. But I've told you everything. If you miss the next one, whose fault is it? Who's the cause? Who's responsible? Equity, you guys know how to do this, so I'm not going to even do this. This is a case study of making too early. They use equity to buy their first investment property, and then they use the equity from that and the offset account to get their second. They $373,000. These numbers are not accurate because there's probably another 56,000. So every time I show these numbers, some of them are correct. Well, with Jess, I was 10 grand out. I was 700, it was actually 90. But usually they're a lot higher than what you see. Oops, what's this? Our testimony. We don't need this. I'd rather get some live. The super, we talked about super. Okay, let's talk about why else we're going to have a property. This is what I want to talk about. Supply and demand. We talked about this a lot. Look at supply. So there's hardly anything for sale in properties. You can't find properties. Look at the rental supply shortage. Look at rental price. Look at that graph at the end. I don't know if I've got a good, well, I haven't got a laser. But rental shortage is huge. And new build houses has gone down 25% because builders are too scared to build because they don't lose money. They won't honest. So this is actually the worst rental price in Australia. There's people living in tents, caravans, people's couches right now as we speak in Australia, which is the first world. Now we've never experienced this in Australia. We're very fortunate because when you go to America, England, and other countries, there's people that are homeless because they haven't fixed their property supply. And what Australia has done really well, we've had negative gearing, so therefore average people can build houses and make sure people have somewhere to live. Unfortunately, our immigration policy is crazy, but we're getting 1.5 million people coming here on boats, planes, you name it, coming around, and it's just way too much for us. It's crazy. It's a whole new curve. So 1 in 3 Australians are renting. 96% of their houses are owned by investors like us. So only 4% is government funded. If we stop investing in property, the people of Australia are screwed. We're really saving Australia. But it's crazy, it's the worst. So we've got a population of 26 million in Australia. We're going to be at 29 million in 7 years' time. That's huge. That's an extra 3 million people that need housing in the next 7 years. By 2050, we're going to have 40 million people in Australia. This is the curve. Net overseas migration. See that graph on the end? It's actually bigger. It's double the size now. What's happening? Cool mathematics. Government spending on infrastructure. Look at this. You look at 2022, look how the graph goes up. The government is spending a lot of money. And why are they spending money on infrastructure? Anyone? Because we've got all this population growth. We have to, right? They're factoring it in, which is good. But we've never spent that much money. And what happens when government spends money on infrastructure? What happens to property costs? They go up. Why? Why does that happen? Would you like me to explain why government infrastructure increases property costs? Okay, I'll tell you why. Let's say you've got a suburb and it's out in the middle of the sticks. The government builds a railway line next to that suburb. Then those people there can go to town really easy, go to work. So that big dollars the government spends goes into the property value goes up because they take advantage of that big dollars. So there's a bridge and things like that. So the more money the government spends, the more value they add to that suburb. Now, we can look at this, and a lot of times part of the forecast is seeing the government money is going to spend, but a lot of that's already pre-planned that people would know and factor that into the pricing. Look at our unemployment rate forecast. Like, it's actually difficult to find people to work for you in Australia. Would you agree? That's the fact. We have got the lowest unemployment rate for a very, very long time, if ever. We've never been this employed before. Yeah, that's what we're getting into. We don't have enough people working. But the immigration situation fixed that problem for us, maybe too good. I don't know. Now, the mining boom that no one is talking about. Who's here from Perth? Who here is in mining? Okay. What's happening in mining in Perth? Anyone can tell me? Everyone all right, okay, yeah.
We need more workers.
Yeah. Is there enough workers in mining? No. You're in Kalgoorlie, aren't you? Yeah. There's just not enough workers. And there's a big mining boom. They're going crazy. They're hiring people from everywhere because there's a big mining boom. Now, what happened in the last mining boom? That was back in about 2000, 2001? We had a mining boom back in the early 2000s. And when that mining boom hit, I bought a property worth $190,000 because I knew there was a mining boom that I wanted to talk about. It doubled in less than 2 years. Imagine getting 100% growth in less than 2 years. Yeah, so mining booms are supercharge a lot of this stuff because what happens in mining boom is they're making a lot of money. And part of the reason the mining boom is happening is because of the war in Ukraine and Russia. See, Ukraine and Russia, they produce a lot of oil, coal, steel, and wheat. Now, you can't really buy that stuff from Ukraine. It's a little bit difficult because Russia are having a war with, and Russia, there's sanctions. So who produces those things? Australia. So what happens is, now those things are more valuable. We sell for more money, and therefore there's more money in the country. There's more money to pay people to work and do this because there's more profit to be made, and it all trickles down to the economy. Balance of trade. You know what a balance of trade is? Balance of trade is like a budget. You know, with a budget, you've got a family budget, and what happens is you look at monthly expenses and monthly income, and it's either positive or negative, right? Well, a country does the same thing, and it's called a balance of trade, right? Now, over the last 6 years, you look at the balance of trade. We started at zero there in the 1980s, and from 2000 when we hit the mining boom, it starts going up. See the red line, exports, and the green line, imports. So exports means we're bringing cash into the country. Imports means we're throwing money out. Where are we? We're way ahead. We get a lot more money into the country than we send out. That's a good thing. That's why Australia is the richest country in the world. I don't know if you realise this, but per capita, Australia is the richest people in the world. Pretty cool, eh? Something to be proud of. The lucky country certainly is a lucky country.
The majority of the $20 billion surplus is.
So again, just the one from there, please.
Is that where the majority of the $20 billion surplus is coming from? Is from the exports?
So 20 billion, yeah, yes, exports. That's where the surplus, yeah. So surplus are always exports because what we're doing is we're looking at how much we spend out of the country, how much we spend in the country. Okay, look at this annual household savings, right? We've got around about $200 billion in bank accounts with average Australians all around Australia. We've never been that high before. If you look back to 91, we had $20 billion worth of savings for the whole country. It's 10 times bigger. Wow. We're rich. Hopefully we're going to be richer. Sorry? Oh, yeah, 1%, exactly. So this is the opportunity. And this is just going over what I did before. So the RBA is going to push interest rates over the limit. I did this before I heard about the rate hike, so I was correct. Which means they're going to have to bring them back down a notch or two. Given the already undersupply and over demand, this is going to cause the next property boom. I'm not going to bother going through case studies on PowerPoint. I'd rather get real people on here. Much more fun. Let's go through. Don't worry about that. Thank you, Leah. You're awesome. We love you. But we're going to move on. Here we go. No, we're not moving on. Someone? Moving on. Thank you. Oh, it's last slide. Great. Okay. We're going to open up the Q&A quickly, and then we're going to talk about paying it forward. Q&A. Any questions? About the money group, about the property group. I think you already know all this. But it's good to see all the stats that prove what I say. So in your mind, you're bulletproof, and no one's going to turn you negative against property. Yes. Let's do the one point.
The other day you spoke about printing money. How is that legal, and does the government keep on doing it? Like, how can you just, is it literally printing money and just putting it into the market? How is that legal? Because this is what's really kind of controlling interest rates going up and down, right? Because you're trying to stimulate the economy, they're printing more money. Like, is that actually like just blow up at some point? Like,
Okay.
can you talk more about that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So, printing money is called fiscal easing, and what it is when the government sees it's going to be a slump, they print more money to inject it into the economy to kickstart. And during COVID, a lot of the governments around the world were worried that things were going to stall. They wanted to really push it through. Now, as always, they went overboard and just printed. We were printing. Anyone know the video? I think it was like 20 million a week at one stage, right? And just printing it and putting it out there. So the problem with printing money is all it really does is kick the can down the road and increase inflation and reduce everyone's bank balance. Because when there's inflation, just before World War II, Germany had super high inflation, where what happened was you buy a loaf of bread, it cost $1, and the next day it was going to cost $10. Next day it was $100. A week later, you had to fill a wheelbarrow full of money and take it to the bakery to buy a loaf of bread. That really happened. Zimbabwe, they printed $100 billion note because their inflation was so high. I've got one. I bought one. $100 billion note. It was worth nothing, right? Because of inflation. So what happens with inflation is all your money just disappears. And what happens is with the economic cycle of the governments, they print money, then they put up interest rates, then they lower interest rates, then they print money, and it just keeps going. So it's not going to stop. It's going to happen again, but it's stop now because the next cycle is about interest rates going down, and then after that, they're going to print money again. That's what happens. And essentially, when they print money, all they do is grow everyone's savings, but push all your hard assets up. Yeah, and the reason Australia prints so much money, we had to keep up everyone else. America and Australia, America and England and Europe just printing like crazy. Yeah. Okay, so are we ready for our pay it forward?
Yes.
Okay. Does everyone know the thing about paying it forward? Microphone, please. There we go. Just Colt?
No
Or the
information,
Gold?
no
Oh,
information
that's right.
whatsoever.
Now, Jones, how did you hear about us?
So Susan, who